All right, thank you guys for waiting just one more minute. I know we have a full packed program today, so we'll get a head start on it and just dive into the matter of today. So first of all, very much a warm welcome to this webinar, How to Control Per User Subscription in ServiceNow, and a warm welcome to you as well, Marcin.
Thank you, thanks.
Yeah, so very happy for everyone to join and have chosen to spend some time with us. Appreciate that. I'm Mikkel. I'm the sales director here in Denmark for the Cloud People, and I got with me Marcin. Maybe you could just put a few words on yourself, Marcin.
Hello everyone, my name is Marcin Kroszel. I'm a solution architect in ServiceNow, and today I will be talking about subscriptions. I think that you will learn a few things.
Hopefully, I sure can tell you that I learned a few things when we prepared this stuff. I really like it's gonna be operational today, so you gotta be prepared for some deep dive. But I think that's where the gems are hidden. So really looking forward to listening in on your session, Marcin. So first of all, we're in Livestorm today, and just to give you a brief introduction for that, we got everyone connected. That's a good start. Then we got 4 tabs in the right-hand corner. Down below, you got people. You can see who else is attending. We got polls where we will be asking a few questions during the session just to, get a feel for your experience and your systems out there. We very much appreciate that insight because it helps us understand how we can, do some content going forward. Then we have questions. You are more than welcome as we go along to put in a question there. We will collect it in the end, and as we go, you can feel free to chat as well for reaching out to us or for reaching out to each other. I always like it when people engage and we can bring maybe some new connections to the table in these sessions. So that's a very brief introduction. Let us know if there's anything in the chat. We are monitoring it all the way through, and I'll try to make sure that everything is getting answered as we go along. So first of all, just a brief introduction to the Cloud People for those of you that does not know us. So we are a ServiceNow partner with the elite status. We are positioned mostly in EMEA, but also now in Americas, both North and South. Probably we're around, I think it's 350 ServiceNow consultants, and have a great collaboration with ServiceNow. So we really like to deep dive into this kind of stuff. We know the technical as well as the architecture parts, and maybe in today's subject it's coming well together. I might want to add that we did a few weeks ago another webinar regarding some licensing detailing. That was more from an agreement perspective, a license definition perspective. If you have the interest, I would suggest that you go back and review that webinar, not now, but at some point when it fits your schedule, because there's some, I think, good insight from my colleague or our colleague, Hannes as well. So you can find that in our website under our video hub. So feel free to check that out as well. Just wanted to mention it. All right, that was a very brief introduction. So today's topic is more of the operational kind of thing. Maybe Marcin, you can walk us through what will we be diving into?
Yes, thank you, Mikkel. So on today's webinar, we are going to talk about a few topics which are very important. We don't have much time, so I will be quick, but please feel free to ask questions. I will try to answer them. So what we are going to talk about today, first of all, subscription dashboard overview, what that is, what it shows, importance of assignment groups, because that is very crucial in terms of licenses. I will walk you through compliance and usage report. I will explain what that is and how it works. And then we will have a demo where I will show you how we can define a subscription for your groups and how to define the roles. If we have time, I will also briefly talk about some common mistakes, governance, and automation processes.
So we will be doing a live demo today, Marcin. That's what I'm hearing, and that's excellent. We're leaning out, right?
Yes.
It's always exciting, but that's good. All right. So maybe you can take it from here, and I'll leave you to it.
Okay. Hello, everyone. So just a quick recap of the subscription licenses that we have in ServiceNow. And so we can talk about 5 of them. We have unlimited, capacity, unrestricted user, PA indicator, and today we are going to talk about per user subscription, which is the most important because here you take all the control on who will be charged for that license, right? Who will be allocated. So I will show you some practical information based on my recent project. Let's talk about some challenges and achievements. And here, before we move on, I would like to encourage you to leave in the chat. This is an open question. I would like to hear from you what are the challenges that you're facing when it comes to subscription management, because that is a very wide topic, and I'm very curious to hear what areas you're struggling with the most. So please type in the chat, and in the meantime, I will share with you some of the challenges that we had on my project. So first of all, it's always about the, yes?
I'm sorry for just interrupting briefly, but we're talking about time here, so maybe I should just add that we think we'll be spending approximately 1 hour together, maybe a bit less. So just wanted to add that. Sorry about that.
And we have the first answer: the numbers don't represent the reality. Exactly. This is so I think you will benefit from this webinar, Dennis. Okay, so first of all, invoices. You get the invoice to pay it for your products, and then you start to think, do we really need to pay for so many users? Are my users allocated properly? Why some of the users are charged for license X, while, for example, they don't use it, right? So this is something what we usually think of when we finally need to pay for it, right? And this is a little bit too late. The next challenge, lack of awareness of your purchased products. As we know, ServiceNow offers a lot of products, and the more you buy, the more complex it becomes, right, to control your licenses. So this is also very important to walk through each of your product and to understand what it does and how it is charged. The next challenge, usually people do not have proper training from counting licenses, and ServiceNow provides very decent materials about that one. I will share with them at the end of the webinar. You will get from me some links to the YouTube videos and also knowledge bases, which I would recommend to check out. It will take you a couple of hours to walk through them, but I think this is necessary if you want to really understand what's going on with your licenses. The next challenge. So who is responsible for those licenses, right? There is no dedicated team who is managing your subscription. There is no dedicated team who is, which is keeping your documentation up to date, which is controlling your automation processes related to subscription management, right? And of course, the last one, the most important from my point of view, because we work in IT and we need to have some sort of governance process and automation implemented whenever we can, right? If we have 200,000 users in our database, we are not going to control them manually, right? There must be some kind of automation which will help us to manage all of that, and that is very important. So these are the challenges. Now I would like to share with you some achievements so that I can convince you that staying with us for the next hour will give you some benefits. So first of all, the first comment from Dennis: the numbers don't represent the reality. After my teamwork, we managed to get 99% correctness of compliance report received from the ServiceNow. I will be speaking about that report later on, but for those of you who are aware of that, you know that those numbers never match, and I think that we will never reach 100%. However, with the last results that we received from ServiceNow, we were at 99% correctness. So after that, we said that we control what's happening with our licenses in our system. Okay.
And this is actually the challenge that you're typing in the chat, right? Mismatch between numbers and so on and so forth. So this is actually, we achieved the better alignment on these two things.
It will never be 100% correct, Murai, because, and ServiceNow also highlights that, right? You can search more information on their knowledge articles, but this is not the topic of today, I want to focus on some practical knowledge, right? The rest of that you can read from the ServiceNow materials, which I will provide. The next achievement, reduction of unnecessary licenses, right? So we reduced about 100 SPM license, 300 ITSM license, and we replaced 30 ITSM license with business stakeholder, because business stakeholder license is basically the license which provides you read-only access. So for example, for your managers, right? Someone needs to have access to your incidents, to your requests, and so on and so forth, right? They don't need ITSM license. They don't need to work on the tickets. Another one, better group management. I will show you how important assignment groups are nowadays from a licensing point of view. They were always important, but not as much as they are today. And of course, the last achievement, savings and better contract estimation. If you know what's happening in your environment and you control your licenses, you have more options to negotiate. You have more options to challenge ServiceNow as well, right? Against, for example, the scan that you received. If you understand what you're doing, then you can discuss with them. And I will tell you that sometimes they are not always right? So this is also very important to understand. Moving on. Now let me get to the subscription overview part. What is subscription management dashboard? So this is the dashboard which will show you your current usage of your license. It will show you your purchase start date, end date, how many users you can assign to it, and what is the current user assignment, right? So how many licenses are counted towards a particular product. In our case, we are speaking only about users, but in different subscriptions, we can also speak about units and so on, but here we are focusing on the users. Who can access this dashboard? This dashboard is accessible by system admin, obviously, because they have access to everything, and by subscription admin, which I will explain in a little bit later. I will speak about the group and so on, so you will see how to get access to it. Apart from that, subscription dashboard has some little configuration options. You can configure what is the threshold when your those green dots should change colors to, for example, red, because you are already exceeding the allocated amount of licenses, right? So these are the small settings that you can set up. And also you can, for example, set up a notification which will be sent to the right user saying, hey, you are exceeding the license, or you are almost exceeding the license threshold. How can we get there? On the navigation panel, you type subscription overview, and then you go to the dashboard. Important tables. I want to mention about some important tables because from technical perspective, it will be necessary to know them if you want to successfully define your subscriptions, if you want to successfully define the roles for your subscriptions, and yeah, it will be necessary to know them. So the first one is subscriptions, which technical name is license details. It's basically the list of your subscriptions, which you can see here on the dashboard. But here you have more freedom to filter them, to view the data that you need, and so on, right? The next one, very important, subscription groups. The technical name you can see in the brackets. This is very important because that will list the groups in your system and what subscriptions are attached to those groups. So for example, you can have ITSM subscription, IT service management, and you will see to how many groups this subscription is attached to. Very important from auditing point of view. Then we have subscription roles, which will be needed by us in definition, in defining how which roles are in scope of a particular subscription. And then we have subscription has application entitlements to define applications. I know it might sound complicated, but I will do demo later on. We will go step by step. So I'm pretty sure you will understand that. Now, let me talk quickly about assignment groups. Why assignment groups became so important? Well, because based on your assignment groups and how you configure them, your licenses will be counted, right? If you insert 20 users to a assignment group and you don't have it configured properly, your subscription dashboard will not show you any numbers, right? It will be 0. However, when ServiceNow will scan your environment against licenses, they will find them, right? So this is very important to understand that this is your responsibility to configure those groups properly. There is no out-of-the-box solution provided by ServiceNow, as far at least I'm not aware of it, which would help you to automate that, right? If you want to automate that, you need to design the entire process on your own. And I think the reason why is because the structure of the groups in each company might be totally different, right? So maybe that's why it is not automated anyhow. However, you can automate that if you know the fundamental, if you have the fundamental knowledge, you can set the configuration in the right way and you can control your users and the licenses that they consume. And very important, I just want to mention that this is very fundamental knowledge, but we want to assign users to the groups, and groups should have the right roles. We don't want to assign the roles to the users, because in that way, they will also not be visible on your dashboard.
So that's a key takeaway, I guess, Marcin. That's subtle but important difference.
Yes, that is very important. That is that is something what you need to be aware of. But I will show you an example later on. Here on the slide, you can see an example of configured assignment group. As you can see on the right side, we have the tab, which is called Manage Subscriptions, and this is the place where you attach your subscription to the group, right? Once you attach it to the group, and then you insert the users to that group, they will be displayed on your dashboard. This is how it works. Now, I mentioned that subscription admins can have access to the subscription dashboard and all the functionalities related to that. This is the group that I recommend to create in every company. You can create many of such groups and give them different responsibility based on the subscription they work on, or maybe one team will be responsible for some automation process and so on. It's up to you. However, in that example, subscription admin group is the group which is responsible for managing your subscriptions in your organization, right? So these should be people who have access to, for example, ServiceNow contracts, who can view the details, because sometimes it is all about the details they need to be aware of, and they need to be responsible for keeping your documentation up to date. And also, for example, they might be responsible for granting additional approval when, for example, you're exceeding some license count. Let's say you have 100 ITSM users and you need to assign 20 more users because you have a new service desk coming to your company or something like that. Then someone needs to approve it, and then they need to also connect with ServiceNow to discuss that, right? Because that is also very important. Because there is nothing wrong with exceeding the license count if you control it, right? If you are aware of it. In order for the group members of that group to have access to subscription dashboard, you need to assign the role, which is called usage admin. You can see that on the screen, and I think that's it. Another poll question, Sasha, if I may ask you to launch it.
There we go.
We have two questions for you. The first one is, are you regularly auditing assignment groups in your system against their members? I'm very curious about that one, because I also have a few important notes to share with you? And also, do you assign roles directly to users instead of inheriting them from the group level? Okay, let's move on to compliance report. Sorry, I'm trying to quickly walk through those slides because I want to go to the demo, which will actually visualize how those numbers change to configure the group. And what is compliance usage report? This is basically a form of environment scan which ServiceNow technician will perform on your environment. It is scheduled activity. They will let you know when they want to do it, and they will ask you to grant permission for ServiceNow technician to go into your environment. They will retrieve data from it, and then they will do the magic in Excel, and they will calculate what is your current consumption of license depending on your product, right? Usually you will get the output as a Excel listing the product and then the contract quantity and actual quantity, for example, right? And this is how they tell you if you are over allocated or maybe not. But now, very important, how it is counted, right? Because I'm speaking here about the subscription dashboard, and now I'm speaking that ServiceNow technician will do some magic in Excel outside of your environment, and this is how it works. From your perspective as a platform owner or person responsible for managing your subscription, how you count them is based on your subscription dashboard. This is your main method you will be using to count your licenses, and that's why assignment groups are so important, because the entire subscription dashboard is based on your assignment groups, right? And the users that are within those groups.
So Martin, we actually have a question from Katja. So maybe I could just bring that in here, because that's a bit in reference to the count method. Katja is asking, can we distinguish whether a user with a license has logged into the portal or the core system? And then just ask if that's the backend fulfiller side of things. So, I mean, that's referring to, can we report on actual usage? And what we're talking about here is allocations, right? Do you have some, can you elaborate a bit on that? Is it possible to check in on the actual usage?
Yes, Katja, this is possible, because when we look, I will show that later on, because when we will be looking for the right roles for the particular subscription, we will be looking only for fulfiller roles, right? These are the most important from per user subscription point of view. The rest doesn't really matter in our case.
That's great, Martin. We'll wait it out then. Thanks.
I hope that during the demo you will get the answer that you're looking for. If not, then you can always reach out to me afterwards and I will try to help you. Okay, so from our side, subscription dashboard will be the main method of counting, right? So based on that, we will see what's happening. However, from ServiceNow side, it works differently, because as I said, they will retrieve the data from your system and they will do all the automation outside on your environment, and they will provide you the results. What they do, they go through your entire user database, they look for the roles, and then they check what subscription should be assigned to that user and what license is consumed in that process. So that's very important to understand. This is also covered in ServiceNow materials, so I'm not going deep into that, but I want to let you know that this is very important to understand, that those two methods are different, and that's why your compliance report will be never 100% accurate with the with what your subscription dashboard is showing, right? Sometimes you might have some users which are not, for example, visible to you. You cannot see them, you cannot query them, right? And they might be also missed, right, in that process. Another poll question, I think this is the last one, but I would like to also know, has your environment ever been scanned against license consumption? If yes, please tell us how did that go? Were you over allocated, within, or under allocation, right? I'm very curious to hear that. I'm wondering how many of you will be within allocation. So per user, okay, there we go, demo time. If we have some questions, Mikael, you can check them while I'm preparing.
I'm sensing that you need a few minutes, so I'll just start talking, Marcin, and then see if I can drag out for just as long as it takes to load up the new screen. I must say I'm impressed with the high pace in this quite complex matter. So kudos from me to you, Marcin, and I hope that everyone out there is keeping up. But it's rather complex, and we're trying to cover a lot of ground. So
no time to waste. I think that based on my knowledge, I can create like 3 more webinars, and my colleagues, I think they can create also 3 more. So this is a very wide topic, and it's very complicated.
Yeah, and we know that Jerry, by the way, he's just some modules can be over, some modules can be under. I'm fully aware of that. So yeah, of course, it's not entirely black and white.
Can you see my screen? You can, right?
Yeah.
Okay, first of all, first I will show you the assignment group, subscription admin, right? The configuration of that. So as you can see, this is the assignment group. We have the role assigned, which is usage admin. I am the member of that group. I'm currently on our TCP test environment. And this is why I have access to subscription dashboard and the rest of the functionalities related to that. So it's very important. It's pretty straightforward. It's worth to create such a group in your in your environment. Now we are moving to subscription dashboard. So what I talked at the very beginning, here I would like to show you something. So here you can see the type of your subscription, and we are focusing only on those per user, right? As you can see here, we have 3 of them. And let's take a look. We have customer service management standard, which we call CSM. And here we have purchased 12, allocated 10. And as you can see, this little dot right here is orange. It's orange because we are meeting the first threshold that we set up in our configuration. And if I'm not mistaken, this is 80%. If we exceed the number of purchased licenses, then it will be red, right? And now, where is this number coming from? I would like to show you that. If you go to your subscription, you will see all the details, and this is not important from our point of view right now. What is important from our point of view is are those 2 tabs, right? Subscribed users, so the users who will be counted in the logic, and also the groups which have that subscription attached to them, right? As you can see, we have two of them right now. Here is the webinar CSM users, and this is how properly defined group looks like, okay? So we have the role assigned to it. This role is part of the CSM subscription. I will show you how to do it later on, but first I want to show you the final results, and then we will go step by step how we can get here. Then we have managed subscriptions. By the way, you need to display that by going to your personalized list, and it is called licenses, right? It's not called managed subscriptions, it's called licenses. So you need to display it right here. And then from here, we can attach one of the subscriptions that we have in our system. In that case, we have CSM. As you can see right here, we have 10 group members. And this is where this number is coming from. 10 users allocated to that group. Subscription dashboard is looking for this group. It's searching for the subscription. Okay, it found it. It's looking for the users, only for the unique users, of course, right? So if you have one user assigned to 10 groups which share the same subscription, it is counted only once, right? So that is all right. Now I would like to show you different examples. So here we have Strategic Portfolio Management, SPM subscription. And as you can see, we have 0 users assigned to it, right? No one is there. So this group is also configured, but it doesn't have any members, right? So let me do a quick exercise. I'm going to assign some users right here. We have 10 users assigned. We go back to our dashboard. We refresh. And what's happening? Nothing happened, right? You may ask why. The answer is very simple. There is a scheduled job set behind, which is running on a daily basis. And I think somewhere in the morning hours. It runs and it recalculates all the licenses, right? It checks those groups and then it updates those counts right here. Fortunately, you can also update that manually. There is a button right here at the top right corner. Of course, this instance is very small. So as you can see, it took only a few seconds. If you have 200,000 users and you run this calculation, it might take a little bit more, right? Okay, as you can see, it got updated. We have 10 users right here. So we are within our allocation, but we are lighting as orange. Okay, let me do one more thing. SPM users. Now I'm going to assign 2 more users here. Let me do the same. I'm updating the allocation. Okay, and we can see that we are over allocated, right? We have 11. The green dot became a red one. So we know that something is wrong and that we need to take care about our licenses, right? But one more detail that I wanted to share with you here is, as you can see, is it that one? Yes. I have 12 users here, but here it is showing 11. Why? Because fortunately, it takes only unique users and only active users, right? So if you have inactive users in your assignment groups, you don't have to worry about that one. They will not be counted in your licenses, right? Of course, it would be nice to have your assignment groups up to date with your members, even if they are inactive. But you don't have to worry about that one, and they will not be counted in your licenses. So that's the inactive one, right? Okay, so now we understand how it works. Any questions here? I don't see anything in the chat. So I will move on.
Probably still digesting the input.
Okay.
I noted that when the stuff turns red, that's when ServiceNow will call us and we have something to sort out. And I think it's really nice to know that it respects the active-inactive status of the user, because that's something we can handle in our identity management process or user provisioning process.
And good that you're mentioning that, because I forgot about one more detail, which is also very important. Dear audience, take a look here. Webinar user 1 and webinar user 1.1. I created them, and let's assume that these are the same users. So what may happen in your environment? It may happen that you have some automation running with integration, right? You are inserting users to your database through different systems, through Oracle or Okta, it doesn't matter, right? And suddenly you can see that you have 2 accounts, 2 of them are active, 2 of them are assigned to an assignment group, and both of them will be active, right? Because they are not unique users, right? From the dashboard perspective, from the ServiceNow perspective, these are 2 separate users. And believe me, if you don't control how users are inserted to your database, you can pay a lot more than you wish to, right? Because you might have some duplicated accounts. All right.
Can I push a question to you, Marcin? Because we have a question regarding what is best practice. Is that adding groups with direct users, or can we handle nested groups? Is that better or worse, or is it same thing? Do you understand the question?
It depends. It depends on how you want to structure that, right? How you feel comfortable with that one. It doesn't really matter. It's up to you how you control your licenses. You can have like one service desk parent group, and then you can have 20 child service desk groups, which will share the which will inherit the role from the parent group, okay? Because this is how you design that, and this is fine, and as long as you control that. And then you can insert, for example, I don't know, service desk Denmark, service desk Poland, service desk Norway, right? And it doesn't matter how you do it. It matters to. It is important that you are aware of how does it work, right? There is no best practice. It's up to you. That's why I said at the very beginning that assignment groups are very important in your company, right? How you structure them, how you control them.
Thanks, and I think that covers it. Johan, if not, let us know, and we'll dive even more into it.
Okay, and now more technical part where we will define the roles for the subscription. I will show you how to attach the subscription, and yeah, we will do it based on completely blank group, right? So here you can see we have SPM users, idea manager, right? So for example, we want to have only idea managers here. We don't have to assign to them all of the roles from SPM scope. We can just assign those roles which are relevant for them. But how can we get those roles, right? Let me show you that. First, what you do, you go to your subscriptions. We are focusing on that one, on SPM. And what we need to do, a little bit manual work with Excel, unfortunately, but that's not something complicated. So I will show you. First of all, we need to extract the information about the applications. And please bear in mind that this is the most simple example that I could prepare for you, right? So everything will be simple here. But in reality, if you have multiple products and they override each other, so for example, some roles are present in one subscription and also in another subscription, then it might get a little bit more complicated, right? And then more analysis is required. But let's move on with our simple example so you understand how does it work. In order to extract that, we cannot do it from here. So we need to go to open new window so that we go directly to that table. And as you can see, the name of that table is here, licenses family, okay? We need to extract all of those applications. I will share with you my Excel in a second.
So now I need to talk a bit more while you just mess around, I guess.
No, it's fine. This is the extract of that Excel, and as you can see, we have 11 applications currently in the scope of SPM. Of course, you can have more. You can have 20, 30, I don't know, it depends. We copy that, and now I need to go back to my...
And maybe while you do that, I can just add that these are the applications that we discussed in the last webinar. What applications do you have access to through each license, and how do you deep dive into that to make sure you get the full value of the licenses that you are paying for? So this is kind of the opposite view on that from the operational to the licensing perspective.
Yes. And now we need to use one of the tables that I mentioned in the slides where I mentioned that you will need them. We need to go to the table which is called license role. We go here, and here we will paste all the applications from this Excel. Once again, I will provide you materials to ServiceNow guys who did that presentation more in depth, so you can see step by step with all the details how it works. But here I just want to give you an overview, right? We need to go to application, and we need to go one level deeper to application entitlements fields so that we can get to the application name, okay? Why? Because then we can have the condition which is one-off. And here we are pasting the list from our Excel. That's the first part. The second part is we got that question from someone, which I was trying to answer. And here we are saying that we are looking only for the role type, which is fulfiller. This is very important. And this is the only thing that matter for us. We go run. And here we go. This is the list of 83 roles, as you can see, which are in scope of SPM for this environment, for our test TCP environment. What we are going to do, we are going to export them again. You already know how to do it, so I'm not going to share my Excel just to make it quicker. But I'm basically exporting that, and then I will copy paste them again. 83 roles. And now I want to show you something important so that you are not confused when you're doing that. If you go to the roles in your system and you will try to list all of them, right? Because you want to check them, right? You want to see what's going on. You go there and you see, oh, wait, it's 26. It's not 83. Why? Because those roles which are listed in the application, it doesn't mean that they are active in your environment right now, because, for example, you don't have some products installed, some plugins, and so on. Right?
So that's very dependent on how you leverage the applications.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So from technical point of view, these are the roles which will define our SPM group. That's the one, right? And what I will do right here, I'm going to the roles, edit, here, edit, name is one-off. I'm pasting all 83. I click the run. And as you can see here, I will only have those 23 that I listed, right? We refresh. Oh, you see even 17 were inserted here because I think that some of them were inactive. And that might be the reason. You don't have to worry about that one. You didn't do anything wrong. It's all good. Now, as you can see, I created that group because I wanted to have it for the idea manager. So obviously, I don't need all of those roles here. But even if here is idea admin. So let's maybe do it the proper way. I will leave it like that. Okay, these are the roles which are shared, so no issues here. Now I'm going to attach the subscription, which is here. And we have, okay, it's good. And now we have the group, which is defined as SPM group with attached subscription with one of the roles that we need for that group, right? And when we add users here, they will pop up on our dashboard. I will show you that in a second. But one important note right here. Again, as you can see, I did all of that work manually, and it can be automated. You can automate that if you design that properly. But yet again, it depends on your processes in your company, how it works, how your groups are structured, and so on. But what I would like to mention here is that you are responsible for that, right? If you do something wrong here and it will not show up on your dashboard, well, it's your fault, right? So, I mean, maybe it's not your fault, but it's not ServiceNow fault that you are not aware of those
You could say it will be the customer problem, basically, right?
Yes. That's why it is very important to control what is happening with your groups, right? And if you haven't yet reviewed your groups in your environment, I think this is the right time to start doing that, because it's not that easy and it's not that quick to do it, depending on the size of your company, of course, right?
But there can be quite some economics involved. There's quite some savings available as well if we do it.
Yes, exactly. Because if you assign the right users to the right groups, you don't want to assign someone who is not working on idea tickets, who is not working on them, right? You don't want such person to have in that group, right?
But you know, for a sales guy like me, that's sweet music, right? Because you know, if there's money to be saved, then there's also perhaps some funding for getting some assistance, which we of course would love to dive into. Just to shout that out loud, say this, of course, how we make our money. So
it's all about money.
Yeah.
So that's it. One hint here. So if, for example, I would like to have this group created only for someone to view ideas, for example, then we can create like read only, right? And then we can assign different subscription, right? And if that subscription, for example, business stakeholder, it will be cheaper in your contract, then why not to do it, right? This is how it looks like. Okay, so we defined the roles, we attached the subscription. I wanted to go here. Yes. And now if you assign the users here, they will be counted, but as I said, only unique users, right? So technically, for your subscription dashboard to count your licenses, this is the most important, right? Because this is what the logic behind will check, right? It will go here, it will check the group, and then it will verify the users. Roles, assigning the right roles is more for you so that you're not surprised when you receive the compliance report, right? That you missed some of the users. Any questions here? Okay, I see that the chat is empty.
Maybe we could ask, does this stuff make sense, or is everyone paralyzed by the complexity, or is it somewhere in between, or just curious?
If we had more time, I would do it in a slow pace, but yeah. Okay, thanks, guys.
Oh, all right, you're hanging on there. That's really that's good to know. All right. I guess you can continue, Marcin, without someone exploding behind the screen there.
I need to check what I'm supposed to talk about. Okay, now we can go back to the presentation.
We'll share the recording afterwards. We just need to prepare it, and it'll be up on the Video Hub as well, so you can review the stuff. I think we'll also send out some slides afterwards.
Are we back on the presentation? Can everyone see the presentation?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. We're good. I will just slowly walk through here because you will get the recording, so you will see the steps also here, right? You also have it in the form of presentation. You just go to the recording and you pause it. You have all the details right here. And of course, okay, I forgot about that one. Of course, if you are confused, if something is not clear, and I'm pretty sure it will be unclear, then you need to reach out to your ServiceNow representative or your ServiceNow partner to discuss the issues and find out the best way to define your groups, right? So that the licenses are counted. This is what we've already done, so we are good here. Common mistakes. Okay, what should you avoid? Overused role assignment. So you're granting someone the role, or you're assigning the person to the group, which grants too many privileges than that person needs, right? So we are speaking here, for example, about the managers, right? You don't need managers to work actively on your incident tickets. They just need, for example, read-only access, right? So don't assign the subscription, which is very expensive. Rather go with the business stakeholder, for example, right? You can create a separate group for them. And the more simplest the structure of your assignment group is, I think the easiest to control it will be. Also coming back to the question about what is the best practice to assign the users and so on, I think that building, I was trying to build the entire structure with parent groups and so on. I'm not really a huge fan of it, right? I feel like it might complicate more than help. So, but yet again, it depends on you. Incorrect subscription and roles. So exactly what I showed you. For example, you don't want to have the situation that you have SPM group, but you have, for example, ITSM roles assigned to it, right? Of course, you can do it if you control it. Sure, why not? But then you will be surprised that, for example, because you had ITSM role assigned to that group, but you didn't have the right subscription assigned to it, it will not show on your dashboard, and then you might be surprised when you receive the compliance report. So very important. Group creation and management. This is the issue that we also had. So for example, you might have in your company high level roles assigned to the users who will be able, for example, to create groups from the backend, right? Why not? Because everyone can do it. It's very simple. Why not to do it? But for example, those users will not have any knowledge about the subscription management, right? And they will just keep creating the groups, adding the users, adding the roles just because they can, and you're not aware of that, right? You need to check that. You need to review who has the right access in your company to do something like that. User database quality. So what I said at the beginning, you need to control what information is populated for your users. What I mean here is, for example, you need to have the right class of the user assigned to it. You need to make sure that the integration is inserting the users or updating whenever possible. You don't want to have many users of the same type, right? Because they will be counted towards the licenses. So basically, the more organized you are, the more organized you will be with your licenses. Governance and recommendations. On the left side, we have a few examples of governance process that I recommend to implement, and on the right side, we have some of the automation ones. So let's move from the left top corner. Assignment groups, roles, and subscriptions. You need to validate if your groups have the correct roles and subscriptions. Again, it may happen that someone has admin rights, and for example, you have the incident. Hey, I cannot access some tables. Via incident, the role will be, for example, assigned to the group, right? The incident is resolved, that's fine. But for example, a developer assigned a role which will be right now counting users towards ITSM licenses, and you will have plus 100 users counted, right, in the group. So be aware of that. Assignment group members. This is more responsibility of the manager of the group. I'm a huge fan of keeping the managers of the assignment groups up to date and ask them to review members of the groups so that it stays up to date, right? If someone, for example, is no longer working in the service desk, let's remove that person from that group so that we can release one license, and then we can, for example, use that license for someone else. Non-inherited roles, you should also start checking your roles and see which one of them are not inherited from the groups. You want to avoid the situation that you have roles assigned to the users manually, Of course, again, if you control that and you are aware of that, that's fine. It's up to you. However, it will be not shown on your dashboard. Some of the automation recommendation, subscription auto-assignment. It is possible to auto-assign subscriptions to your assignment groups. For example, going back to the example with the incident, let's say that a developer resolved the incident, he or she assigned the role to the group, and then you can have an automation working behind the scenes which will auto add the necessary subscription, right? Of course, if you don't have many products purchased, it's very simple. If you have more, it might get a little bit more complicated, but everything is doable. Adding users to the group. I had this situation in my project that, for example, one of the Scrum Masters in the company had, by accident, had admin role in the system, and he was freely adding users to the groups. How surprised we were when we found out that we have some of the users from Agile team consuming ITSM licenses, right? That was a big surprise. So once again, create an automation and governance process on how the users are added to the groups. You can create a catalog item, and you can communicate globally that this is the only way you need to add users to the group, because otherwise, I don't know, there will be some consequences, right?
Thank you very much, Marcin. We have to be careful on the time there.
Last slide.
Yeah.
In this slide, I'm just sharing with you some of the places where you can look for more knowledge. So I'm sharing here 3 knowledge articles from ServiceNow, 2 ServiceNow Academy sessions. It will take a couple of hours from you to walk through them, and then another couple of hours to actually get some hands-on experience. And of course, we are also here to help. So if you have any questions, reach out to us. And I think that's it, Mikael.
That's great. Thank you very much, Marcin. That was well paced. Just finalizing this stuff. I just wanted to mention that we have a quite exciting webinar coming up in January. We have 3 free sessions available. It's a professor talking about customer experience. So if some of your licenses includes CSM licenses, this is very relevant. We have Bart coming in from ServiceNow expressing a bit on how to connect those customer experience with the technology layer in ServiceNow. How can those two be better together? And then we have our very own Hans Ole, who will be talking about how to do great implementation of CSM and the dependencies around your organization to be really successful in transforming the way customer experiences are handled. So feel free to check that out on our website. Marcin, thank you very much for your huge effort here. Really appreciate that. I think that's probably a wrap then. So much. Thank you very much for your time, and hope that you gained something from it. Feel free to reach out to us if there's anything you want to discuss and dive into. We'll be more than happy to engage. And hey, have a great rest of your day, and really do appreciate that you choose to attend this webinar. Bye for now.
Thank you. Bye.